Hello, Namaskar. Welcome to Postcards, a patchwork of stories. I'm Ujaswini Sachdeva and I'll take you on this journey with me. Today we are here with Dr. Sonali Gupta. She is the first Indian Egyptologist and the founder of Himalayan Institute for Cultural and Heritage Studies. So, well, let's get to know her more. Also, um, no, I won't reveal that. Questions mein पूछेंगे. So, the first thing that I would like to ask you is, what was your childhood like? I mean, the impact of your parents, your upbringing, and everything about it. What did you love the most about it?
Okay, I think that's a beautiful phase of my life. Talking about childhood, my parents are no more, so it gives me an opportunity to travel back in time and savor what they gave me and how they shaped me. So, my father, he was in the Indian Foreign Services, and right from childhood, he instilled in me that knowledge is something that you really have to, engage with and just become more empowered with it. So he would in our summer holidays, he would give me and my sister the newspaper, and he would say there are five topics, five questions, and we had to find the answers. My sister used to shy away because she was just very interested in music and not academics or anything, and I would go and find the answers, and then Papa would come back, he would play the symphony, and then he would ask me all those questions. They were political, historical, and that's how he educated us. And traveling to different countries with him gave us an opportunity to be exposed to the world out there. And we did that very young, right from the early 1980s, just living in the diplomatic community and understanding what it is to be an ambassador of your country, representing your country. So yes, my parents instilled a lot of confidence about culture and heritage right from my childhood. Yeah.
So, what was the place that touched you the most during your father's postings?
So this was not a posting, but we were traveling through Italy, and my father, he just gave us tickets to the Vatican, and he said, "Explore it, and I'll meet you end of the day in this park." And he just left. So my sister and I went to the Sistine Chapel, and we explored. And my father had narrated stories of Michelangelo and the paintings and things that we would find. And each time I saw something that reminded me of a particular story that my father had narrated, it came to life, and I smiled because now I could visually, connect with it. So, end of the day, my father was waiting at the park and he said, "How was the experience?" And I said, "Papa, it was phenomenal." So that's how he kind of, that trip touched me a lot. And I think that's when I really started appreciating art, history, culture from, deep within my heart.
How old must you be at that time?
I was, I think, 12.
Wow.
I was 12 years old. Yeah.
So my next question was going to be about the same thing. What did you want to, become when you were younger? What did you dream of becoming? Were you fascinated by stories, heritage, culture? So,
No, I was not fascinated back then to such a degree. I wanted to become a neurosurgeon.
okay.
Yeah, and in fact, I was interviewed in Trinidad. I still have a paper cutting where my sister and I we were introduced, and we were interviewed, and they asked me, "What do you want to be?" I said, "I want to be a neurosurgeon." And I was in my mind, I was like brains, and that's all I want. But to my dismay, when I came back to India, I had to deal with a horrible subject called math, which was the bane of my existence and my dreams even today. I still get horror dreams. And my math teacher was really bad. She would hit me on the knuckles, and I was good in math, but then I started getting away from it. And in the 11th grade, you had to take math in the medical field. And I said I wanted to be a doctor, but now I'll try to be a doctor of another kind. I didn't want to deal with math. That was the kind of nightmarish attitude I had towards that subject.
I get it because I hate maths. I
Yeah,
literally do. I'm
yeah,
very bad at it.
yeah. So you'll find two categories of people: one who love math and they hate history, and vice versa.
Hmm.
So I'm in that other category. Yeah.
Can you tell me about some friend of yours who stayed through your childhood till now, if
Uh,
any?
I've had friends, and I feel they have been seasonal, and the seasons have gone on for long. One friend that I truly cherish is Shruti. We are still in touch, but not as much. I think life takes you on tangents where it's very difficult to kind of get back to your everyday chatting because life takes over. But she's been very, very important in my life in terms of the friendship that we shared. We met when we were lawyers in Delhi High Court of all places, and we loved writing stories. We would always bunk court and end up listening to classical music and wander off to some restaurant. Our boss would ask, "Where are you?" "Sir, we are just out of court." And then suddenly some classical song would be playing, and our boss would say, "तुम्हारे कोर्ट में classical songs चलते हैं, किसको उल्लू बना रहे हो?" So अब हम हंसते थे, and we would go back to the office and all. So I've had wonderful times with her, and there are others also, but I would say Shruti has been really with me. And another friend of mine who's an Egyptologist, she's American, Angela. She is, I think, my constant. I just absolutely love her,
I can
Angela.
see that smile on your face when you take her name.
Yeah, yeah. So Angela and Shruti have been very dear to me.
Okay, so you started your professional journey as a lawyer.
Mhm.
What pulled you towards that in the first place?
I got pulled into law because I wanted to be in theater and I wanted to act in parallel cinema. And I was very, very active in the theater scene in Delhi. But as luck would have it, my sister, she got into Act One. She was very talented and she fell in love with an actor, and they got married, and my parents were very upset. So I was like, let me calm them down, and I won't go that route. I will stick to academics and do all my acting in court. So yeah, that's how I opted for law, and I was very sincere towards the profession, but I was not passionate about it. Yeah,
How was your life like as a lawyer?
I felt very, very strong as a lawyer. I think I came out of my shell knowing the law. I think everybody should do law because you get aware of your rights, and you feel that you have a tool that you can help the world. And I started doing that. My colleagues would look at me जैसे किसी की bail करवानी है, तिहाड़ जेल में that person is stuck. So I would say आप विपासना कर लो, and उनको बहुत वैसी दिशा दिखाती थी मैं. तो मेरे कलीग्स बोलते तुम पागल तो नहीं हो, तुम इनको ये बोल रहे हो विपासना करो, वो ना नारकोटिक्स में अंदर है, उसका बेल एप्लीकेशन. ऐसे ठीक है, वो उसको ट्रांसफॉर्म करना भी आवश्यक है. He can be on the right path. So I was a defense lawyer. I didn't like being a defense lawyer. I
Okay.
wanted to be a prosecutor. But I started off with being a defense lawyer. I loved going to Tihar and dealing with the condition, the human condition. But it was very negative. And as a person, it was not who I wanted to be.
Hmm.
I had a lot of compassion, and each time somebody went into prison and I lost a case, with my boss, I would feel very, very responsible for it. So I think that was not a very good profession for me.
That
If
is a very heavy weight on your shoulders.
Yeah, yeah, it was
You're responsible for somebody else's life.
yeah, yeah. But I enjoyed litigating. I enjoyed, doing the law thing, appearing before judges and all of that.
So any particular case that stuck with you?
Any particular case that stuck with me at an emotional level?
Yeah.
At an emotional level. Hmm. I think I'll tell you about a particular case where I went to Tihar, and this was when I was a student of law. We went on a project to Tihar jail, and there was this old lady, and she was stuck there without any fault of hers, so she said to me. And I kind of started talking to her under the people tree in Tihar jail itself, and I felt very sad. I felt very connected to her. And after that, I wrote a story on Tihar, and I just felt very emotionally kind of drained after that experience. And she had told me her court date, and it was supposed to be in Karkarduma courts. And I went there, but she did not arrive. And till date, I wonder what happened to her. Why did she not arrive? Those questions remain unanswered, and I still think about her. So yeah, this was one instance, and there's so many other instances. I've met many crooks, so I
Mhm.
wouldn't say I felt happy about it, but I think what their families go through is very, very heavy. Yeah.
Hmm. So when did you decide to shift directions from being a lawyer to coming into the field of archaeology, and that to Indian, uh, being an Indian, an Egyptologist?
Okay. So it started while I was in India. Um, in the summers when court was closed, I started going with the Indian Archaeological Society. I was doing a case for them, an arbitration case. And during that, I started, they had a library in the Kutub institutional area in Delhi. And I started looking at the books, and, it was almost like a magnet for me, looking at historical books and all. And I started organizing their library, and then I said, I would, Dr. S.P. Gupta, now he's no more, but he was instrumental in laying the term, the Indus Saraswati Valley civilization. So I consider him my mentor. And I said, sir, I want to come on an excavation with you. And he would say, oh, tum to beta lawyer ho. मैंने बोला हाँ, but I love archaeology. He said, ठीक है, come. So I went to Cambridge, which was an ancient trading port, which had trade with the Greek world and India. And I started doing pottery there.
Oh.
And of course, I was doing the legal part, and I was doing that, and I was so happy. I just felt this is what I need to be doing. But I hadn't taken that decision. That decision came when I was preparing for my judicial exams, and they got postponed. And then in between, I met my husband online, and then I said I will be moving to the US. And when I moved to the US, I worked at the LA District Attorney's office in the Crime Against Police Officers section. And one night I had a dream, and it was about me holding a lantern and a journal and sitting in a tent, and it was Egypt. And I just knew I had to apply at this one university, UCLA, and I did that in 10 days, and I got selected. So
Wow.
that's how the change came about. And my husband is an attorney, so I said, you do the law, I'll do archaeology. Yeah.
So, what does archaeology actually mean to you? I mean, also for laymen, what is archaeology and what does it mean to you?
So archaeology is digging the past, looking at past cultures and making sense of it. And all history is written because you get archaeological evidence and you weave a story out of it. So humans and what they have done is, the objects they made is all archaeology. A lot of people confuse paleontology with archaeology. And I think that is a problem because people think, oh, dinosaurs, archaeologists deal with dinosaurs, but it's paleontologists. We haven't been able to disseminate this information so that people can differentiate. So it's not that they're dumb, but it's because archaeology is not as well explored as it should be. So, yeah, archaeology gives you a sense of who you are, your roots, and I feel that's powerful because that's something that speaks of belongingness and identity, and it connects us all to a common root where we come from. And I'm an anthropological archaeologist, so I look at the past from the lens of the present. Yeah.
Okay. So, what is it like working with fragments and remains and reconstructing history, I would say, from what is lost or left?
So I feel there's a lot of similarity between law and archaeology. So for me, the transition was not that difficult because in law, you have a case, you have a theory, you're proving that theory, It's either you're fighting for the plaintiff or the defendant, and you're putting pieces of a puzzle together. In the case of law, you have witnesses, you have people, and you can cross examine them and you can weave that story with your evidence. In archaeology, you cannot do that. You have to find the evidence, you have to dig it, and you have to suggest the story based on that evidence, but you don't have people to prove it. So it's very much similar, archaeology and law. And I think weaving that story from trash, from bits and pieces, is what makes life exciting. Because, and it's not easy. It's not like you just pick it up and say, oh, ye kahani hai. You have to do a lot of research. And I think more than excavating, I like the research part of it,
Okay.
weaving that story. Yeah.
So would you like to call yourself a storyteller?
Yes, I definitely call myself a storyteller of the present past. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So can you tell us a story uh, in your profession as an archaeologist, or I would say as an Egyptologist? Anything that you remember, ki, haan, this was a special moment for me during my maybe field work, your research, or whatsoever.
Okay, first of all, I'll start off with a special moment because you just asked me. So, when I started my career as a lawyer, when I got admitted to the bar, the state bar, Delhi, my first case was an arbitration in England.
Okay.
So, I was into corporate law back then. I had some free time. I was so bored, I can't even tell you. They had arbitrators, the arbitrators were falling asleep. I was like, oh my god, I cannot endure this, I need a break. So I went for a break to the British Museum, and I went to the gallery where you have the mummies. And I stood there, and I still have that photograph where I'm smiling and standing with the mummies. Exactly 7 years later, I became an Egyptologist. Like, I
Okay.
started that journey. How did would I ever know? I feel that the world kind of gives you instances of what your future will be, and it's like it's when you get connected that way, it's very fine. When I look at that photograph, I'm just amazed
The universe works in wonderful ways.
in wonderful ways. Yeah, but I'm forgetting what the question was.
Any special moment during your term as an archaeologist or an Egyptologist, anything that you feel connected to the most?
I think there are two instances. One was when I was in Greco-Roman Karanis, which was the site I worked for in 8 years. So UCLA had a project there. It was a Greek site, and it was occupied till just the before the rise of Islam. 60-hectare site, beautiful site. We worked a lot with the villagers. So there was this mud brick that we excavated, and my hand kind of firmly went on it, and my palm was almost,
Imprinted.
yeah, printed. And I felt this is one moment where past and present come together. So we as humans are the same. We have the same aspirations, the same desires and wants. We're just separated by time. So it was a beautiful moment. And the other instance where I truly felt that I'm so proud to be an Indian, I was in a site called Berenike, which is in South Egypt. And Berenike is named after Berenice, the Ptolemaic queen. So, if you know Cleopatra, there were 7 Cleopatras. And the whole Ptolemaic dynasty, you had Berenice, Cleopatra the first, second, third, fourth. So they had this place, Berenike, where they traded with India, with the Muziris, Kerala, and the Greek world. And there, I was the first Indian to work there in 2012. And for me, that was an experience I can never forget, knowing that my ancestors came from India and they traded. And at that time, pepper was more precious than gold. And my own professor, my advisor for my PhD, Dr. Vilika Vendrick, she had excavated those pepper pots which had Tamil Brahmi in it. So I was not there when she excavated, but knowing that this landscape was frequented by ancient Indians,
It felt personal.
it felt very personal. And I just can't tell you how wonderful it felt that I'm Indian. Yeah. So,
I'm someone who relates to things like this very much because whenever it comes to culture, roots, tradition, uh, I would say I'm the forerunner.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very special feeling representing your country, and I'm still an Indian. I will never give that up for the world. Yeah,
Okay, so coming back to Egypt,
yeah.
जब भी कोई कॉमन पर्सन टॉक्स अबाउट इजिप्ट तो सबसे पहली चीज़ आती है कि हाँ वहाँ पे मम्मीज होती हैं, हाँ वहाँ पे पिरामिड्स होते हैं. सो फॉर पीपल हु डोंट एग्जैक्टली नो what does Egyptian archaeology actually comprise of, beyond the pyramids and the mummies?
So, we forget, we think about pyramids and very complicated theories about who made the pyramids and pharaohs and all of this. बट ये बहुत सिंपलिस्टिक है, क्योंकि हम जब कल्चर्स को स्टडी करते हैं ना, हम बहुत ही कॉम्प्लेक्स लेंस से उनको देखते हैं, लेकिन अगर सिंपलिस्टिक लेंस से देखें तो वो बहुत ही सरल होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द इजिप्शियंस, एक नाइल है विच फ्लोज फ्रॉम द साउथ टू द नॉर्थ. वो भी एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग फीचर है, लोग सोचते नहीं है, क्योंकि हमारे इंडिया में नदियाँ मोस्टली नॉर्थ साउथ फ्लो करती हैं. ये उल्टा ना, साउथ से नॉर्थ, इट्स डंपिंग ऑल इट्स वाटर्स इनटू द मेडिटेरेनियन सी. So the sun rises in the east, sets in the west, and the river is right in. And everything is happening around that river. And the places that are beyond the river are places that are dangerous, they're dark. So for the Egyptians, when the sun rises and the sun sets, something happens when the sun sets. The sun rises again, it takes birth again. So when it's taking birth again, what's happening? Something is happening under the river. So what they do? They give the pharaohs the boats. कि भाई नदी कैसे पार कर लोगे, गधे पे तो करोगे नहीं ना, कैमल, कैमल तो रोमन के पीरियड में आया, बोट से ही जाओगे ना. अब बोट पे जाओगे, नाइट है, पेरिलियस जर्नी है, तो हाउ विल यू नेविगेट इन द नाइट? सो दे हैव अ गॉडेस कॉल्ड नूट. So she swallows the sun. The sun travels through her, and there are doors that open, for the deceased soul. And when the doors open, have you been naughty or nice? Your heart is weighed. If you've been naughty, you'll be thrown to the demons in the underworld. But if your heart is lighter than the feather, then you go through, you navigate, you traverse that period. Just like Indian religion में हम after life बोलते हैं कि पूरी नदी पार करनी पड़ती है and all that. एंड बहुत टॉर्चर होता है इस प्रोसेस में. आई थिंक इंडियन आफ्टर लाइफ में ज़्यादा टॉर्चर है इफ़ यू रीड द गरुड़ पुराण. And then the sun comes out of, is given birth from Nut. So she swallows from the mouth and she gives birth through her vagina. So it's talking about birth and death through the sun's movement, through the moon, and through a simplistic thing like a boat. So it's very simple. And all Egyptian religion is kind of narrated from this very simple phenomenon, which is in the environment. So we have to understand cultures that way, that they are very simple, we make it very complicated. So,
I guess almost all the cultures are somehow related, because you just mentioned about Egypt, the afterlife and everything. Similarly, Indian religion में भी ऐसा ही होता है. I mean, Indian community में भी the people talk about afterlife and the swarg or nark wala thing. And Christianity में there's Judgment Day. So I guess all religions are somehow connected, all communities are somehow connected.
right, they are. And one very interesting thing about Egyptian religion is that death is not death. Death is not the end. Non-existence is death. So they urge you that speak of our names, the people who have died, that when you stop speaking of our name is when we'll stop existing. So मुझे ये बहुत parallels लगते हैं हमारे हिंदू कल्चर में, हिंदू
अमर
रिलीजन में.
होना.
अमर होना, और हम जो श्राद्ध रखते हैं,
हम्म.
रिमेंबर करते हैं, खाना देते हैं लोगों को. इजिप्ट में भी ऐसा ही था, लेकिन वो रिलीजन स्टॉप्ड बीइंग प्रैक्टिस्ड व्हेन द ग्रीक एंड द रोमन्स केम इन. एंड अब हमें वो बिजार लगता है, लेकिन बहुत पैरेलल्स हैं इजिप्शियन रिलीजन में और हिंदू रिलीजन में.
So we can trace it all back to history.
To history, we can't make one-to-one connections because humans are wired similarly, so they cultures feel similar, but we cannot talk about diffusion and things coming and हम सोचे कि ओ इंडिया से ये है और इजिप्ट से यहाँ, हम काफ़ी इस चक्रव्यूह में फंस जाते हैं. बट कॉन्टेक्स्ट को देखें तो हमको बहुत सिमिलैरिटीज लगती हैं.
This might seem very silly what I'm going to say right now, but throughout the world, कहीं पे भी if you tell a child कि हाँ एक सीनरी बनाओ, तो हर बच्चा चाहे वो एक इंडिया में बैठा हुआ है, चाहे वो अफ्रीका में बैठा है, चाहे वो आज से यूएस में बैठा है, दैट चाइल्ड वो ड्रॉ वही वो माउंटेन्स, वो झरना, वो नीचे नदी, एक घर और एक वो पेड़. So I guess we are wired very
Similarly,
हाँ.
and it's very good, and it's not silly what you said, it's very important what you said, because अगर हम अपने scriptures को भी देखें, and if you look at tantra for example, the triangle, the circle, the dot, ये चीज़ें are very basic. ये हमारे environment में हर जगह पे देखते हैं. जैसे हम हिमालय को देखते हैं, the mountains, हम शॉल्स पे देखते हैं, टोपियों पे देखते हैं द माउंटेन का वो, है ना. एंड एक कोग्निटिवली वी आर वायर्ड इनटू अंडरस्टैंडिंग शेप्स, एंड हर जगह रेक्टेंगल, स्क्वायर, सर्कल, ये तो यूनिवर्सल है ना. तो हमारा जो कोग्निशन है, हमारे न्यूरो ट्रांसमिटर्स, हम उसी तरह एक्सप्रेस करते हैं उसको with triangles, dots, circles and all, because we are human. Our brains are very, that वो जो इतने सीसी का जो हमारा ह्यूमन ब्रेन है, यही तो सिमिलैरिटीज है. या एंड स्टिल वी ऑलवेज हाईलाइट द डिफरेंसेस एंड हैव सो मच ऑफ फाइट्स, एंड विवाद कितना है, तो नहीं होना चाहिए.
Acha, being the first Indian Egyptologist, it must have brought both pride and pressure, right? So, first of all, what does this mean to you? What does this title mean to you? And I would like to know about your struggles throughout the journey.
Throughout the journey. So first of all, being the first doesn't mean anything to me. I think I'm the first Indian. I'm the first from Delhi. First को तो कितने first हो सकते हैं. But I think first का ये है
I mean, but that sets precedent.
Yeah, it can be inspiring for others that what, there is a place. But I think in our first is very misunderstood in society. हम लोग वो pressure की तरह लेते हैं कि अरे हमने first आना है इसमें, हमने ये करना है, वो करना है. I think we should do things we are passionate about. Then first, second, third, how does it matter, right? फर्स्ट इजिप्टोलॉजिस्ट भी मैंने तब लिखना शुरू किया जब मुझे बोला गया, बिकॉज देयर वर मेनी अदर्स इन इंडिया हु प्रोफेस दैट दे आर इजिप्टोलॉजिस्ट व्हेन दे आर नॉट. So it was very important to say, I've studied Egyptian archaeology, I've done a PhD, and nobody else has done that. And that's important because studies, superficial level se nahi honi chahiye. You just can't read books and say, oh, I'm an Egyptologist. You have to put in a lot of hard work into that subject. So Ojaswini, struggles were many. Especially when your parents are getting old और आप PhD कर रहे हो और इतनी दूर हो, तो हर कॉल आधी रात को जो आता था मुझे डर लगता था, तो fear was taking over. So I remember मेरा spring quarter चल रहा था when I was doing my studies, PhD studies, and my mother was on the other line. She said, Sonali, come, Papa has had a stroke and he's in coma. And I just dropped everything. I said, my friend said, wait, let's see. I said, no. The doctor said he has a 10% chance of survival. I booked the flight that night and I left for India, and I left a letter for my professors that I have to go. So for me, nothing was more important than family. I couldn't wait and see, oh, dekhte hain kya hoga. And I've always been that person. I've never let my job and profession come in the way. If it's my parents, I have to go. So I came, and my father was in coma. He was in the ICU, and I just mentally started speaking with him. He came out of coma, and he had a surgery and all. And the only person he remembered was me. So he didn't remember my sister. I still tease her about it. So that was one struggle. Parents' ill health that caused a lot of anxiety and stress to me because I cared. But every person, every child has to navigate that path. It's tough, but I think that's when you realize the importance of things in your life where the I kind of gets sidelined and you start thinking about what's important to you. So, yeah, that phase is very tough, but it's also very revealing, and it connects you with God. Yeah.
I really can relate to, you know, how you care for your parents. My father told me after I did my 12th कि तू फॉरेन चली जा, बाहर जाके कर ले, कुछ स्कॉलरशिप लगे ले ले या कुछ भी, मतलब he wanted me to go abroad, and you know, he's the person who has always supported me, who's always been my backbone, and he wants me to touch skies and that there's no limit to what you can do. He used to tell me कि तू जा, कोई बात नहीं, घर मत मुड़ियो, तू दूर जाती जा. But I have seen people, I have known people that the parents were lying on their deathbeds and they couldn't reach them, even in their last moments.
Hmm.
So I could never, you know, अगर मेरे साथ कभी ऐसा होता, I would never forgive myself.
Yeah.
So I chose to, you know, live in Chandigarh just because it's closer to home.
And I think
And I'm loving my life.
that's a very good decision. And you know, when my father died, I was there for a whole month and a half. He died in my arms. My mother died right next to me. I left, my marital home to be with my mother for 3 years, and I owe it to my husband. You need a companion who lets you be a daughter, an individual, a wife, because you support a wife. You don't own a wife, you support her. You don't own your spouses. So I owe it to Sandeep, my husband, and for letting me be and taking care of my parents, and I have no regrets. Yeah.
You just said the own wali line, you know, you support wali line. So I wrote this poem long ago. I don't usually write in English. I mean, I do. I don't write poems in English. Poems सिर्फ पंजाबी या हिंदी में लिख पाती हूँ मैं,
Okay.
mostly Hindi. But I wrote this poem, and there's this line. It is about my partner. So it is like the line is, let's show them what a companionship looks like. So it has the same embodiment. I'll tell it to you later. I'll recite that
Oh,
poem for you
lovely,
later.
lovely. But you do vibe with that. You don't own each other. You are.
Hmm.
And I think Khalil Gibran,
Yeah.
I think he really describes these relationships very well in his poetry also.
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
Um, okay, so moving on, we were just talking about, you know, how various cultures are similar in so many ways. You have, you know, studied, you have done explorations from Egypt to the Himalayas. So, can you talk about more similar moments that you discovered कि हाँ Egypt में भी वो है and we are following same kind of things there?
yeah. In fact, the Devta culture that in the Himalayas, very similar to ancient Egypt. जैसे यहाँ पालकी ले जाते हैं with the Devta, with the Mohuras. इजिप्ट में भी आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि ये पैरेलल्स है, मैं ये बोल रही हूँ कि सिमिलैरिटीज कोग्निशन के उससे की अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि वहाँ भी एक सोलर बार्क होता था. सोलर बार्क इज the term for a boat, and the deity would be on it, and they would go to every place, because you cannot go to the devta every time. The devta has to go and see his or her people. And oracle होता था, अगर इस तरफ झुकता था तो ये आंसर है, इस तरफ झुकता था तो ये आंसर है. oracle होते थे, जैसे यहाँ गुर होते हैं, वो जवाब देते हैं. एंड जो deity itself है वो सैंक्टम सैंक्टोरम में इजिप्शियन टेम्पल्स में होता है. आई डोंट नो इफ यू सीन दैट हॉरिबल सॉन्ग सिंग इज किंग, जिसमें कटरीना कैफ एंड व्हाट्स हिज नेम, that actor Akshay Kumar, they're dancing, and Katrina Kaif is wearing very skimpy clothes, and that's in the great temple of Karnak. I still wonder how the Egyptian government gave them permission, because kuch bhi ek sentiment hai, maybe Egyptians are not practicing that religion. It's a predominantly Muslim society now, but there is a certain degree of respect for a culture. You just can't be singing this annoying song, in the Karnak temple. In that temple, the deity was in the inner sanctum sanctorum, and उसको खाना खिलाया जाता था, उसको कपड़े पहनाए जाते थे, उसकी परिक्रमा की जाती थी. Similarly, how we treat our
It's
deities.
like आज जन्माष्टमी है, we feed कृष्णा भगवान का आइडल, उनको तैयार करते हैं, सजाते हैं पूरा.
हाँ, तो सेम इजिप्ट में भी होता था, सेम. सो बहुत सिमिलैरिटीज तो हैं. and एक author है I think John Wenger, and he talks about these similarities. He says, polytheism in India, in Hindu religion, and in Egyptian religion are very similar, but nobody has investigated this because कोई Indian था ही नहीं जिसने इजिप्शियन रिलीजन या आर्कियोलॉजी पढ़ा हो. अब मुझे
Hmm.
पैरेलल्स दिखते हैं और मैं इंडियन हूँ, तो मैं इस बारे में थोड़ी सी बात कर सकती हूँ, विद अ लिटिल कॉन्फिडेंस. सो या.
Okay. So your work sits between the tangible and the intangible, ruins, textiles, myths, and legends. So what makes you say that yes, this is something that needs to be preserved?
I think anything old which tells a story has to be preserved. Our own sensibilities, हम सोचते हैं, मैं अपना ओन एक्सपीरियंस बताती हूँ. जब मैं कुल्लू आई थी, मैं पहले शुरू शुरू में, जब मेरा थॉट भी नहीं था कि मैं कभी हिमालय में काम करूँगी, अम, मैं टेम्पल्स देखती थी, पुराने टेम्पल्स को डिसमेंटल करके नए टेम्पल्स बना रहे हैं. तो मैं सोचती थी, व्हाई आर दे डूइंग दिस, दिस इज सो stupid. How can they, demolish old heritage and just build new ones? But at that time, I was not really aware of the nitty gritties and nuances of Himalayan religion. But अब मुझे समझ में आता है कि देवता ही चाहते हैं renewal of their home. We all want a good paint in the house. We all want that change. But that change is because the Himalayan deities are humanized. They have thought, they have perception, they're real. They are not just statues. They have a life, and because they have a life, they need a home, and you have to rebuild because the Devta said so, and everybody has to follow. So these things, when you understand them and you live in a place, and I actually lost track of what we had actually asked. I don't know where I left off.
That's completely okay. That's
Yeah.
completely okay. I love the fact जैसे अभी दुशहरा आने वाला है. I love how दुशहरे के टाइम पे जब सब देवते नाचते हैं, उनके रथ होते हैं obviously, but that is a very beautiful sight
Yeah.
in itself. You can see, हाँ, just like you said, humanized.
Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of people ask me, oh, do you believe in this? That they get, this transpossession and all, you're an anthropologist. And I was like, I'm not into whether this is true or it is false. I am there to observe. This is their belief system. They believe in it and it's beautiful. This is their culture and I'm documenting it. That's it. Don't ask me whether this happens or that happens. Of course, a lot of things have happened. I've experienced them myself. But if I kind of narrate it in the academic world, they will say, oh, she's gone cuckoo. So, you also have to be on that path where you can have light conversations about it. But yeah, yeah.
During दुशहरा हमारी शॉप है लोढ़ालपुर में इन कुल्लू. सो देयर इज दिस पर्टिकुलर देवता. आई डोंट रिमेंबर द नेम, बट देयर इज दिस पर्टिकुलर देवता जो हमारी शॉप के सामने आएंगे एंड वो वहाँ पे पूरा ऐसे नाच के जाएंगे. एवरी ईयर दैट हैपेंस एंड
Okay.
एवरी ईयर आई एम देयर टू डॉक्यूमेंट.
Really, but you do not know the name of the
आई
Devta?
डोंट रिमेंबर. आई आस्क माय फादर.
Yeah, please do. I would love to know.
आई
Yeah.
आस्क हिम. आई श्योरली लेट यू नो.
Maybe he's come to say hello, Ojaswini. Are you on the path?
आई मीन आई लव वो देवते जब मिलनी भी करते हैं आपस में. इट इज़ अ वेरी ब्यूटीफुल साइट एंड आई
Yeah.
मीन यू कैन फील दैट एनर्जी.
Yeah, yeah. I've experienced that energy as well in Nagar. So I worked a lot in the Tripura Sundari area. She's my favorite goddess in the valley, and I love working around her temple. So yeah, I experienced the energy in Nagar Castle, where I kind of trembled and felt electrified. Yeah. So I see them as blessings. Yeah.
So moving on, you have worked with, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Iban Textiles or Iban Textiles?
Iban
Iban
textiles.
Textiles.
Yeah.
And also studied wooden temples in the Himalayas. So I would like to know more about all of these various things that you've done.
So the Iban Textiles was my postdoctoral fellowship from UCLA. Like after I did my PhD, I taught at UCLA. I taught for a total of 8 years, but I was also director of programs. And then I had a postdoc, which gave me the opportunity to go to Borneo. So Borneo is a very large island and it's divided between Malaysia and Indonesia. And the Iban people were headhunters
Okay.
So they used to kill humans. They
Okay.
used to get their skulls, and they used to put it in textiles called pua. And during those ceremonies, the women would wear bidangs. Bidang actually means flatland, but it's pura ikat textiles, warp and weft weaving. And the weaver would have dreams of it, and they would be inspired during the dream, and then they would craft this weave, and the people would wear that. So what I was doing was I was trying to delineate different layers of meaning within that textile and material objects. For example, the bidang is woven by the creator, the weaver. So she has certain perception about it. The audience, what they see, the person who's choosing that, and then the collector who has chosen that textile, because I was looking at a collector's, collection. So I wanted to see how everybody carries their own wisdom and their own perception, and how does it play out. So yeah, I worked on documenting all of that. I lived with the Iban in their long houses in the deep jungles of Borneo with my son. And
Okay.
yeah, it was wonderful. They eat.
How old was he at that time?
He was, I think, 5 years old,
Okay.
5 or 6. And the Ibans, they eat a variety of things from stingray to pythons. And
You mentioned they used to be headhunters.
yeah, they were headhunters.
So when you went there, weren't you scared?
No, I was not scared. They don't do headhunting anymore.
Okay.
And
So it was
all,
ages ago.
yeah, and ages as in till the 1940s.
1940s.
Yeah, just like the Naga people.
Okay.
In fact, they have a lot of similarity with Nagaland, and there's one theory that the Nagas actually migrated to Borneo because their tattoos are very similar. Their totems are very similar as well. You know, the bird, I'm forgetting the bird that the Nagas use. I'm just forgetting the name. I've got a brain fog anyway. So, very, very similar. And there, the long houses are literally so long, and all the rituals connected with headhunting have been converted into rituals where they showcase their culture and you dance with them. And if they're really happy with you, they will give you their concoction of intoxicants, which you drink or sitting with them. So yeah, it's quite entertaining. And end of the day, they're all people who love chatting, and I'm fluent in Indonesian, so I have had wonderful conversations with them.
Like you went to Borneo and lived with the Iban people. So, for example, if I have to go somewhere, that is, I would say कि हाँ थोड़ा सा ऐसी जगह है जहाँ पे लगता है कि हाँ कुछ डर डर सा कुछ भी kind of that. There would be somebody, maybe my mother. She would be scared कि हाँ यार you're going alone and you are going to be there and मतलब जो भी है. So was there somebody who tried to stop you कि please don't go there or something like that? Because I remember I was going to Kanpur
Mhm.
last year for the IIT Kanpur's annual fest. I was invited there. So my mother was like, "तू कानपुर जा रही है तू अकेली जाएगी," and not in a way to restrict me, but because she has heard a lot about UP में how they treat women and a lot of cases that were going on. So was there something like that that happened? Somebody who tried to stop you as a
Dissuade
cat?
me?
Yeah.
नहीं, no, nobody. करता भी तो मैं सुनने वाली तो थी नहीं. I'm a very stubborn Taurus. I'm a bull, I'll do what I love. But बड़े interesting episodes ज़रूर हुए थे on my journey. Visa में, crossing over from Malaysia to Indonesia. The person who was with us, he then stamp वापस नहीं लगाई, and he was detained, and he said, Sonali, here's the key, drive to Malaysia. I was like, what? Like, really? Like, you're expecting me to drive to Malaysia from Indonesia because you just forgot to get your visa stamp? And I was like, chalo, I'll drive also. Like episodes like that. There, yeah. I think that was the experience. I think आजकल के जो political boundaries and barriers है, they scare you more. But I've always believed in that no guts, no glory.
So
Yeah.
you had fun amongst these stressful moments.
Oh my God. When I was in Egypt during the Arab Spring, everybody in my family was worried. I was enjoying myself. I think I mentioned earlier, my husband called me and he said, "Don't go to Tahrir Square." And I said, "Okay." He said, "Where are you right now?" "I'm in Tahrir Square." "What are you doing?" "I'm in a tank, and I'm having chai, Shai Akhtar with a fellow Egyptian, military personnel." Yeah. So
That's amazing.
yeah, yeah, I've had a lot of fun. Yeah, and I think it gives me. I've always tried to live on the edge. So it was not just law. It had to be criminal law. It was just not archaeology. It had to be
Egyptian
Egyptian archaeology.
archaeology.
Yeah, I
So
like
you
that.
love the adventurous part of it.
I love adventure. So how you guys came today? I was like, they've had an adventure. Like I would love it, but if I was the one to be pushing stones with my injured hand, I would fret. But if I were a part of your team, I would happily do it and enjoy it.
But we loved it. I mean, I didn't pick up the stones, but we loved it.
Yeah, there's a certain joy in uncertainty. I think living in America, everything is so organized, everything is the same as the day before. Every day is not an event. But the minute you land in India, everything is an event, everything is different. And that's what I love. That's who we truly are. We are not supposed to live stagnant lives, which is everything is arranged. उसमें क्या मजा है? मजा तो उसमें है the uncertainty में, जिसमें you're navigating life, you're learning. It's just not life and death and illness. It's more than that. So I feel everybody should experience life. They should live their life and not exist. Yeah. So
Okay. Well, let's move on to our next question. How do you personally relate with the concept of heritage? Is it something you inherit, or is it something you create, or is it something that has been passed on to you?
So I feel heritage is something you really need to engage with to truly understand what it is. Right from childhood, the heirlooms that you get about, who you are. In India, our surnames, ourselves are a part of heritage, where we come from. We can totally delineate, from the surnames, what category we are on, which is not really a very cool thing, but it kind of gives you a sense of identity, which region you belong to, your community, your value systems. But as you grow, your vision of heritage, if you're interested in it, half of the people are like, who cares? But if you do care, um, your vision enhances when you start becoming more sensitized to things that you see. And heritage is something that speaks volumes of, again, your roots, your identity, your sense of belongingness, a story that, for example, a structure narrates and you receive it. It's non-verbal communication, and the power of non-verbal communication in communicating something so deep, and how you engage with it makes it worth living that life of culture and heritage and preserving it. I think that to me is a heritage. Like just like in Delhi, when my husband was in hospital, I decided, I said, Sandeep used to support my institute. So I was like, I have to do something. So I said, let's start an Airbnb in Delhi. And I told Krishna, who's my trusted right hand, he's the logistics head and a wonderful wood carving, wood crafts person. I said, let's make Mirpur Haveli. It just came to me. I said, Lajpat Nagar is so crowded. It's known for its marketplace. But people who knew it, that it is a haven for refugees, are forgetting, because people who were in their 80s and who narrated their stories are no more. So, yeah. Huh.
Acha.
Huh. So they are no more. So how do I make sure that the story is not forgotten? I said, let's make an Airbnb called Mirpur Haveli, where I can put photos of my parents, my father, his father, grandmother, stories of what happened in the partition, and make people understand, why is this called Mirpur Haveli? Why is it in
Hmm.
Lajpat Nagar? Let people ask questions, and then I tell the answers. And people who stay, they come to know what Mirpur Haveli was. and it was so important. Porus belonged to that area near the Jhelum. He met Alexander the Great there. It's in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. And yeah, it's under dam waters. So my sense of belongingness and identity are truly under dam waters today. And we talk about Kashmir and we talk about my land, your property. What does it mean? What does it truly mean? Why? Why is there conflict about these things? Why can't we kind of ease these conversations and talk about history and heritage and connect people? Yeah.
Partition is something very close to my heart because both set of my grandparents, maternal and paternal, migrated from what is now Pakistan, Punjab. And even when we were talking about surnames, that surnames se bhi you can, retrace your heritage, so I'm a Sachdeva.
Hmm.
My dadu used to live in Sachdeva Mohalla in Montgomery in Sahiwal district.
Okay.
So that's how I related to that. And apart from that, about partition, I have been working with the 1947 Partition Archive.
Mhm.
I have done various oral
Histories.
history interviews with partition survivors. So, the one I remember, I mean, the one that is very close to my heart is uh, this retired, I guess, flight lieutenant. हाँ फ्लाइट लेफ्टिनेंट आई डोंट एग्जैक्टली नो दी पोस्ट को क्या बोलते हैं but he's a retired flight lieutenant.
Mhm.
So he has witnessed 1947 uh, as a kid, of course. Then he went on to become an army man. Then he witnessed all the wars that happened, and he was there in the अपना ये Kargil war bhi.
Hmm.
He has seen 84 he's a Sikh. He
Okay.
has seen 84 के riots, 71 का war, 75 की emergency. Then we had वो China वाला conflict, China conflict. And when I interviewed him, he was, I guess, around 92 or something. So
Wow.
I interviewed him with the help of his daughter who used to live abroad. She was in India for a month, and she reached out to the Partition Archive that I want my father to be interviewed and, to record his memories.
Hmm.
And from all those years, the most important memories that he had, जो उनको याद थी अच्छे से, not the recent ones, जो recent हुआ वो नहीं, he remembered the partition का pain.
My God. And you're so right about remembrance. There's a project that I do, memory and materiality. Say, so how materiality triggers memory. And I've done that in the Kulu Valley with my
See,
students.
I named my section Material and Memory.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah. And the example that you gave, it's so true. Whenever my father was in hospital and he was in a state of stupor, semi-conscious, he would remember his house in Mirpur because during when the partition, just before the partition happened, he had just got horses from Samarkand, and he loved horse riding, and he was going to be sent to Lahore to study medicine. And the partition happened, and life changed forever. So he would remember his house, his horses, and that he was going for his medical degree. So that always stayed with him in his stage of semi consciousness. And he would speak in Potwari, in his dream. So it was so, so important for him. So when he died, I actually wanted to take his ashes to Mirpur, and I couldn't. So I feel bad that I couldn't go to Mirpur. Yeah.
आज के टाइम पे it's a little difficult, I want to explore my past, my heritage, but due to the political rivalries between both the countries, we can't. But there's this Sam Alexander, or I don't know his name. There are two guys.
Hmm.
They're not Indian, but they are working on both India wala Punjab and Pakistan wala Punjab, and they are bringing out the stories from that. I follow them on Instagram, and they're
Okay.
doing an excellent job
Oh,
because
I'll follow
uh,
them too.
I need to know that.
Yeah.
That is something, from within me, that is calling out कि नहीं मुझे ये जानना है, and if I cannot, at least someone else is doing it.
No, and it's great because for Pakistanis and Indians, it's so difficult. So somebody, a neutral person, is doing that. That's wonderful. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's something. It's very evocative of, like we've grown up with those stories, and I don't want those stories to fade away.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So now let's talk about, Himalayas.
yeah.
You have settled in the Himalayas. You are currently in Dhami near Shimla. Previously, you were in Kullu, Katrai, so to say. I would like to ask you, what do Himalayas mean to you?
So the journey started with, I was always attracted to the Himalayas right from childhood because my mother is from Nahan. And summer holidays would be in Solan, in Nahan, in Paonta Sahib, in Shimla. I remember as a little girl picking up brambles from the bushes, rolling down the hills. Solan, where my mama used to live, he used to take the poison out from the snakes and he used to give me the snakes to play with.
Okay.
And I loved that. And I used to go snake hunting, and my mommy was petrified. She said, "You take out the poison," but she doesn't know that. And someday she's just going to pick up a snake and, she'll die. So I was very fearless. When I was 11, I went to Manali on a school trip, and I distinctly remember standing on the old Manali bridge and looking at the Seven Sister Mountains and telling myself that I'm going to keep coming here for what I do not know, but I will. So I had a knowing at age 11 that this place is something very meaningful to me. And I kept coming for holidays. Nowhere in the world did I love going except Kullu Manali with my old parents. And on one of those occasions, I decided to start a project. My very old friends, a very good family, Upadhyayas in Katrai, I told them to renovate their place, and I started my first project. The first field school in India was started in Katrai, and I feel so good. So while I'm talking about what the Himalayas mean to me, so first I was trying to learn about the Himalayas, and then while I was learning about them, about the stories, about your people's lives, suddenly I realized that Himalayas are teaching me resilience. Then I went through my own share of health issues and all. And by the end of it, I feel actually the Himalayas, I have become a mountain myself inside. I think the mountains teach you about life and how to surrender and how to stand tall and
Hmm.
face all difficulties, standing tall with a smile and doing what is your karma and what you are supposed to be doing, not faltering. दुनिया तो अपने आप चलती रहेगी, लेकिन you be a mountain. Yeah, you don't fall. Yeah,
This is something I also take away from the mountains, to stand tall no matter what.
no matter what. Yeah,
Because being in the mountains is, I don't know, deeply personal for me.
yeah, yeah,
Deeply personal and entirely different from any other place in the world. If someone tells me to choose between mountains and beaches or mountains or plains, I will always choose mountains.
yeah. There is
They're
something
my
very,
heaven.
and it's not just any mountain, it's the Himalayas.
Huh.
पीपल में से ओ इतने क्राउडेड हैं ये है वो है हाँ है लेकिन कुछ तो है जो हमारे हिमालय हमको इतना प्रभावित करते हैं और इतना हमें इंस्पायर करते हैं
So let's now talk about Ketli Cafe and Mirpur Haveli. I want to know all about both of these. I love the concepts, especially sitting at the Ketli Cafe.
So Ketli Cafe is called Ketli Cafe because when the British, we know that Shimla was the summer capital of the British, and the British used to call say kettle because the tea culture was very dominant in the British lifestyle. So I decided to call it Ketli Cafe because the local Indians used to call it Ketli. They
Ketli.
couldn't say kettle. So Ketli for us Indians and kettle for those who come from the West. And it's a congregational point for everybody in the village. Initially, when I was setting it up, the people thought that I'm opening a cafe, a commercial cafe. But it's not a commercial cafe. It's just called a cafe. Whoever comes gets tea, if we are eating food, they're welcome to join us. And it's for the villagers, their kids to come, read, do art, knit, have their bhajans, and all of that. So it's for the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about Mirpur Haveli?
So Mirpur Haveli is in Delhi, and I started it. I was going through a very tough time because my husband had a brain stroke, And I said, how do I support the institute? Because my husband has been very instrumental in supporting my institute. So I thought, let's make it into an Airbnb, but call it Mirpur Haveli because that's where my ancestors were from. My father was from Kashmir and the Pakistan side,
Hmm.
and it was the place where Alexander the Great met Porus on the banks of the Jhelum. And I wanted that legacy to live on in a place like Lajpat Nagar in South Delhi, which is known for its market. And people who would talk about Mirpur have passed away or they're in their 80s, And so I want people to question, what is Mirpur Haveli? And inside, when you go, there are pictures of Mirpur and people from Mirpur.
Okay.
One of them, of course, you have studied in that college, MCM,
Meherchand
Meherchand
Mahajan.
Mahajan, who was a Supreme Court Justice. So we have many legal luminaries, doctors, and jurists from Mirpur, and I want that memory to live on in the form of a trigger point, which is the Haveli itself, which allows conversations about Mirpur to go on for eternity. Yeah.
So we're soon going to plan something there also.
Yes, please do. I would be very, very happy.
Now I would like to move on to a bit personal questions about your journey with cancer.
Mhm.
I want to know, how did that experience, reshape your relationships with your work, your, the things that you do, the
Mhm.
things that you love to do.
Okay, so when my mother passed away in 2022, and a few months thereafter, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. Initially, it was a big blow to me because I felt that I have done everything right in my life to not have a disease come my way. I was very active, green tea, yoga, all those things that are in vogue. I have done it all, no junk food, no coke. But still, I was afflicted by cancer. Now, cancer, initially it scared me, but then one day I embraced it. And I think it was the month of February when I looked in front of the mirror and I had very long hair and my hair was falling. And I asked myself that why am I fearing this? Because some months before, when my mother had died, I distinctly remember going to Haridwar and telling the pandit, please shave my hair off. And he said, हम लड़कियों के बाल नहीं shave करते. So I said, why was that easy and why is this difficult? I realized it's fear that's overpowering me because I'm not in control. The disease is in
Hmm.
control. So I looked in the mirror and I said, Cancer, I will treat you with love, not fear. And I started cutting my hair and then I went to shave my hair off. And after that, that once that fear went away, I conditioned myself that I'm going to embrace this experience and learn from it. And I started my Insta handle to Cancer with Love. And that made all the difference. And you asked me about how it's shaped what I do in life today. I think it's made me more resilient and focused that this is what I love and this is what my purpose in life is. And if each one of your audience who's listening, they listen to this, that if you have a purpose and you live for that purpose, the passion, the compassion, and all those ingredients will make your life better. Money comes and goes, but passion is something that will drive you and make your life worth living. You will start living your life instead of existing in a 9 to 5 setup. So yeah, um, researching about the mountains, I realized I'm becoming a mountain myself.
Standing tall.
Standing tall, yeah.
What would you like to say to the people or the families of the people who are currently, undergoing cancer, suffering through cancer, I would say, because it's a very tough time, both physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially as well.
Yes, it is a very, very difficult. And I think not only cancer, any kind of crisis, in
Hmm.
Himachal, if you see floods and, havoc being strewn around, any crisis is tough. I feel that whatever comes your way, just embrace it. It's not easy. It's hard. You have families, you have love. You feel what's going to happen. When death embraces us, it's not the end. There is life after that. But whatever time you have, we're all going to die. Okay, and it's a mystery when, right? So whatever time you have, just smile and embrace it. That's it. I did not know whether I'm going to get across this phase, and I have a 12-year-old son and my husband. But I just surrendered. I surrendered to God and I said, whatever you have for me, I will accept it. It is not easy, but you have to make yourself strong. And all those of you who are listening and who have cancer in their families, I know you might say it's better said than done. I know it's hard. I have cried as well. So many times I've broken down. I urge those families to reach out to me also, so that we can have conversations that make you feel comfortable, if not really comforted all the way. At least I can bring a little bit of happiness into your life by my own experience. Yeah.
You have that kind of spirit, that kind of energy that people are attracted towards you. I mean, I want to keep talking to you.
And I want to keep talking to you. You're so bubbly and so vivacious. So I'm very, very glad you and your team are just wonderful people. I'm so happy to know you all.
Thank you so much. So with this, we are coming to the end of our interview. There's just two questions left, जो हम सबसे पूछते हैं, whoever we interview, you know, postcard से related. So first question is about post. For us, the word post is a patchwork of stories, but it also means after or later, right? So what does post mean to you?
Post means, the minute you said post, it brings to my mind the red letter box. Yeah, and I feel just recently the India Post stopped, or
The book
the postal
service,
service,
yeah.
which was like an era coming to an end. You bringing this postcards, this whole idea, gives me a sense of nostalgia, of stories, of narratives that are long forgotten, and you're bringing them to life in a very lively, conversational sort of way. And I think that's what makes it really beautiful, charming, and I think it's so innovative. And yeah.
Thank you. So the last question, what is the postcard that you want to send into future?
My postcard to the future is: be compassionate, love your surroundings. Your culture, your heritage, your identity is what makes you. Don't forget that. Don't go with the flow of AI and technology. Like, okay, go with it, but don't forget who you truly are, because that's what makes you individually very distinct. And just preserve that culture, because otherwise everything will become a Kentucky Fried Chicken or a McDonald's. You need to keep your own islands of identity intact, and that's the postcard I want to send into the future. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you. I mean, staying here, staying with you guys, with your team, Santosh Sidi, Krishna Bhaiya, Sandeep sir, Rudra, and Lopino.
And
We loved it.
and I want to add that people who are not present here, and this village belongs to them, I want to name them.
Sure, of
Yeah,
course.
Sangeeta Sharma, Ritu Sharma, Pradeep Sharma, Mahima, all of them have, embraced me into their lives. I'm not really related to them, but the love they have given to me and helped me on this journey of embracing knowledge and fighting crisis. I think if each one of us becomes compassionate like that, and love each other, the world is going to be such a better place. And I don't hope for it, because it does happen in lives. I just hope people are more open to love and affection. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.